Did you press record on the other one?
No.
Never forget to press record. You might regret it forever.
Pas trop chaud, pas trop froid. So welcome back, guys, on another episode of
The Filmmaker's Couch. Today, episode 5.
episode 5. We're talking about focal length and
Yes.
which one you should use instead of another one, and
Yeah.
which context you should use this one.
So today we're going to be talking about the widest range of focal length up to really close. So we're going to be discussing 16 millimeter, 24 millimeter, 35 millimeter, 55, 85, and 135.
Yeah.
So starting off, you can see right now we're on
The
the 16 millimeter. And as you can see,
Everything. You can see
everything.
everything.
basically,
Like it's very wide. It's mostly used for real estate, honestly,
Yeah.
because you have a bit of distortion, so you don't want that to be used on a person or like on a human. You
yeah,
don't want
because it's
that.
going to distort the face.
Yeah, or it's an effect, but it's
Yeah.
another context. So yeah, mostly real estate or
And-
behind the scene.
Yeah, behind the scenes, vlogs, 16 millimeter focal lengths. The focal length is perfect for establishing shots.
Yeah.
If you want to get as much of your scene into the image, then 16 millimeter is perfect. That's why Coco just said
Real
that
estate.
real estate
Yeah.
16 millimeter is like
It's crisp.
the
It's
best focal length for that.
Yeah.
Moving on, one of my favorites for wides, 24 millimeter.
The 24.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So 24 millimeter is one of my personal favorites for wides, just because it's the standard focal length for any establishing shot.
Yeah,
Like,
more cinematic.
It's
like,
the most cinematic for
Yeah.
any type of wide shots, whether you're outside, whether you're inside in a house, or just establishing your scene and where you are, just to after that punch in with those other focal lengths.
Yeah, and you have way less distortion on
Yeah.
site. Like it's almost like we already talked about the 35, but already with the 24, you almost get this eyes point of view, like
Yeah.
the human point of view.
Yeah. And you're getting a lot more information of your scene, and you can actually get closer to your subject without distorting the face too much. So a perfect example of using the 24 millimeter would be being close up to your subject, but still wanting to capture the background and just position your subject in a scene.
Yeah, and one of the third, like the rule of third, basically. You
Yeah.
have your subject on side, but the majority of your scene is used for the background or something happening in
Yeah.
the back, but you still want to connect with the character.
Exactly. So 35 millimeter is actually the focal length that we're shooting on right there. The first angle that you're seeing us right now is 35 millimeter, and on there as well, just for comparison. So 35 millimeter is perfect for, it's basically the reproduction of the human eye. So
Yeah, the
that's what
closest.
we like
Yeah.
that's why we like to use it for this video, because it's as if we're actually me, Coco, and you having a conversation about
Yeah, it's like a
filmmaking.
meeting. Like we're
Exactly.
like in a, like we're just talking together.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it's still wide enough to be able to position your subject in a scene. Like you
yeah,
can
we're
actually
two, you
see.
can see the sofa, like you
Yeah.
can see the scene without being like already like close front to the
Exactly.
character.
And after 35 millimeter, then you're gonna be moving into more closer
Yeah.
focal lengths, and you're gonna start to be more up close and personal with your subject.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So now we are on the 55
Yeah.
millimeter. 55 is a great focal length. We're still in the area of the human eye. We're still in that range that it's very personal. It's very kind of very realistic is what I
Yeah.
like to call it. These focal lengths, let's say from 24 to 50, 55 is really realistic focal lengths. And if you want to tell a story that's real, that's authentic, and you want to really convey that naturalism, then these focal lengths are perfect.
Yeah.
And 55 millimeter is gonna be able to give you more up close and personal feel to your images.
And still you're gonna have the background on
Yeah.
like on your scene. You're still
Yeah.
gonna have like
A little bit of the
feel
background.
the feel like of the character that you want to isolate. But and with that you start to have the what we call the bokeh, basically the blur in your background, that the little dot that you can see. it's the start of the dreamy look that
Yeah.
we can call. Like you start to separate your character from the background.
Yeah. And what I like to compare the 50 and 55 is, let's say I'm taking this object. It's really, when you look at an object, a specific object, and you're focusing on it, you can see that all of the rest of it becomes blurred, and your ultimate focus is on this object.
Yeah.
And the 55 millimeter is perfect for that, because you're really starting to bring focus on one or two specific parts of your image, and that's really important. So let's say you're trying to, you're in a scene and something happens in the background, or an object falls to the ground and you want to put an insert shot, then the 55 is going to be perfect for that, because it's as if your eye is really focusing on that thing.
And since we already talked about it, the 24 gives you the establishing shot of your scene, so you don't need to go back to the 24.
Exactly.
You already go, because the audience know where they are with the establishing shot, so you can go straight to the 55 and isolate the little thing that you wanna show, basically.
Exactly. 85, as you can see,
Start to be very very good. Like
we're pushing in right now with
Yeah.
the 85. For me, I think the 85 is pretty much the limit that you can push, and I like to use the 85 for interviews, for dialogue scenes. And the range that I love for dialogue, or let's say especially in movies, 35 millimeter to 85 millimeter is really the perfect focal length for dialogue, because especially for over the shoulder shots.
Oh yeah.
You're starting with your 35, you still have your character, and then you have your character in front of you delivering the dialogue, but the 85 and the 55 are used to really punch in
you have
once the
emotion.
character is saying something important, or like Coco said, once the face starts to display some emotion.
You have the micro gesture, the micro movement of the face that start to appear, since you don't have this focal length like as the human eyes.
Exactly.
Like we talk about the 35. So now you start to go deep into the character. Basically, you go really deep into the face, the character. If
The
you have like a
eyes.
makeup, if you have like a certain eye, like the regard that he have, like the feeling. You can start to feel what they feel.
You're starting really to dive into the world of the character that you're showing, and really going into up close and personal. You're starting to really feel it as a viewer, what's going on inside that character's mind, and what's going on inside. Also, 85, another beautiful lens for portraits. We talk about it a lot, but 85 is a beautiful lens for portrait.
Since we talk about the bokeh on a 55, now that we are on a 85,
we're going a step further.
The backdrop, the background don't even exist anymore. It's really isolating your character.
All right. So
Here we are.
135. This is 135 millimeter, guys. Two options for this. There's not you're gonna be using this type of focal length for two main reasons. The first one obviously is gonna be to use as a very stylized look. This is for your extreme close-ups. This is for your macro photography, your macro videography. Anything, let's say there's a scene that you're writing on a piece of paper.
Like
this is
the
the
paper,
lens.
the pencil, like you see the, like you can see the little
You can literally it's very this is perfect for insert shots, because now you're bringing all of the focus on one element.
One thing.
You can see this on the lens. There's only one element that is even able to be in focus, just because it's so close. So if you have let's say you have a candle burning and you want to tell a story through that, you're going to be using this lens to really punch into that candle and watch that fire burn. It's going to create a sense. Things that are small are going to become big and create an importance.
You are on the dreamy side now.
Exactly.
You establishing your shot with the 24 or 35. You did some shot on the 55 to have the character, like a bit of the body, and when you feel, you have the 85, or you were thinking, you can start to feel what he see, you feel what he want to say, and now you pinpoint either just the eyes, either just just the cheek,
Exactly.
just like you pinpoint something now.
Number two, this type of focal length is gonna compress the background with your subject. So if you wanna, let's say you're in a desert and you wanna bring those dunes into your subject, this is the perfect focal length, and you're gonna be able to isolate really well. Actually, you're not gonna be isolating, because let's say
You bring the background.
you're
with it.
bringing the background and you're creating this, like, you're melting your subject into the background. So you're really bringing all of that into focus, and it's just to really pinpoint one thing in your image. Or let's say there's something really far away and you want to capture that, let's say a bird, an
Yeah, if you're
eagle.
more into into wild environment, if you take picture of animals or this kind of thing, of course you're gonna go 100, even 200, and even you're gonna go to 300.
Yeah.
But it's more gonna be like National Geographic.
Yeah. And this is a lens that is perfect for anything that's related to mystery, horror, anything. Let's say we talked about earlier, establishing your scene with a wide shot. But let's say we flip it back and we start with this lens. Then you're starting with something very small and very pinpointed, and you're creating that sense of
The mystery.
I have no
clue
foundations.
where.
There's no environment. I don't know where this is happening. So you're creating really a sense of mystery with these types of focal lengths, and it's very dreamy. It can be used for flashbacks, like all these kinds of stuff is perfect. So 135. This is some. Now we're moving into more stylized things, and this for photo is perfect for, like we said, macro.
Photo is another.
Macro shots, let's say, of products.
It's pretty it.
That's pretty much it. This was a bit of a longer episode, but we feel like this.
There's a lot of focal lengths.
And
we'll
now you
cover
can
them.
start and experimenting, try and see what works for you. And these we've described here today, focal lengths, that these are the rules that come with the focal lengths. But once you know how to use them, then you can start breaking them and to tell your story.
You master your tool. We already talked about it. You master your tool, you're gonna master the lens, and you're gonna be able to compress the background, but to have your subject with the 135, and you're gonna be able to trick the lens and go beyond the limitation of.
Exactly. It's always about telling a story and telling it in the most unique and special and in your way. So we encourage you guys to go out there, try these different focal lengths. Don't be scared to make some mistakes. This is how we do it, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.